I completed an internship as an electrician at a hospital where I worked with a middle-aged colleague who seemed dissatisfied with his life. This individual, who had a family to support, was often late, known to go shopping while on the clock, and generally displayed a lackadaisical attitude towards his job. Our supervisor eventually transferred him to a nearby hospital. A few months later, we received a call from the groundskeeper at that hospital informing us that someone had been living in the ventilation room for several weeks. There was a mattress and a reading lamp in the room. Although we suspected it was our colleague, we had no concrete evidence. Back at our hospital, which had 8 floors, the 4th floor was closed off due to the shutdown of a particular department. I don't recall which specialty it was. However, some of us still had access to this floor for maintenance work. When he was transferred back to our hospital, a few months passed. We noticed he was spending a lot of time around the orthodontics department and would disappear for strange lengths of time. One day, a security guard was patrolling the abandoned 4th floor and heard moaning from one of the rooms. As the guard approached, the moaning suddenly stopped, and a figure bolted from the room with a jacket over his head and his trousers half pulled up. He made a beeline for the exit like a lascivious spectre. The woman he had been with was left in the room. He had even brought a worn-out mattress for the occasion, proving that chivalry wasn't completely extinct. Access to the floor required a swipe card and a personal code, so we deduced in a meeting the next day that the culprit was our colleague. He was subsequently fired and, unfortunately, also lost his family. A male employee took a female colleague's house keys from her purse and made copies during his lunch break. When the woman returned home from work that day, she found him waiting in her bedroom. Thankfully, she managed to escape unharmed and promptly called the police. He arrived at work intoxicated, carrying an extra bottle of alcohol. We both ended up consuming the entire bottle on the office balcony. Do you remember Gregory? Gregory's behavior at work became increasingly erratic, to the point where he was taking breaks that lasted 4 hours instead of the allotted 15 minutes. Despite this, the boss wouldn't fire him, stating, "He's not as high today as he was yesterday." On one occasion, his mother came to our workplace and followed me around the sales floor, demanding to know why I wasn't taking care of her precious boy and protecting him. She never specified what from, but I later understood that she wanted me to prevent him from using drugs in the parking lot without explicitly saying so. I tried to explain that I wasn't a manager or a babysitter, but she insisted that I was supposed to protect her son. Eventually, a higher-level manager did fire Gregory. Yet he continued to show up the following days, not to work, but to lurk around my department with his hoodie up and hands in his pockets, muttering about how terrible we all were. My direct manager wouldn't take any action, feeling sorry for him. Finally, the higher-level manager had Gregory escorted out and banned. If I were to guess, I'd say he's probably not alive anymore. There was a woman whose husband, a department head in a different part of the company, was having an affair with his secretary. Tired of his behavior, she decided to confront him at work. She stormed into his office and undressed in front of his entire department, yelling, "Am I not woman enough for you?" Both the husband and wife, who were in their mid-60s, were fired or forced into retirement. As for the secretary, I believe she never returned to work. I felt sympathy for the woman. Her husband was known to be difficult, and she must have endured a lot to reach that breaking point.